Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been using the OnePlus N20 5G now for about a week and a half, and I've really been enjoying the overall experience, especially when it comes to the ease of use and user experience. But there's some things that I want to share that do need improvement, so stay locked in and I'll get right back with you. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we wanted to talk about the Nord N20, which is a really solid device after a week or so, and I want to talk about the cameras. Now the cameras are going to be pretty solid. We're going to get a 64 megapixel on the rear paired along with a 2 megapixel for portrait, 2 megapixel for macro, and 6x zoom on this thing as well. Now I was pretty much impressed with the overall quality of the images when I was zooming in at 6x. And I wanted to share some of the photos that I did take at 6x zoom on this camera. We also did get some really good detail on 3x zoom as well when we were taking photos on this camera. So it did give you some really decent contrast, colors, and lighting on this guy. On the 16 megapixel front shooter for the video, it did blow out my face and didn't have my natural complexion, and the background was a little bit washed out as well. Now on the 64 megapixel camera design, with paired along with the 2 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel portrait, it did look like it was a really nice design language. Also, the body of the phone looked very, very sturdy and elegant. Now, when we're taking a look at some of the autofocus capabilities of this camera, I was impressed with the way that it zoomed in on objects that I was looking at an up close distance, and I didn't have any problems whatsoever when I was trying to zoom in on objects from a far distance at 6x zoom video. But just keep in mind, the further you go out, the more it will blur on the video mode. But the overall design language is really nice because it has a matte material logo on the back, really nice boxy squared off edges, but rounded corners, rounded camera, nice clicky buttons, a nice glossy strip at the bottom for added grip, but it was glossy there, but just the matte back felt really solid in the hand. And I really like the fact that this device uses Gorilla Glass 3, which is my favorite because it doesn't scratch whatsoever, and I haven't been using a case on this phone at all. Now, as far as gaming performance, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of internal storage, which is an improvement from last year, plus we do get the SD card. And I did notice that when it came to gaming with this guy, we did get a Snapdragon 695, which is very improved over last year because we had a 690. So I was able to play PUBG, Fortnite, Call of Duty Mobile, and things to that extent. The customization of this device was pretty cool because we were able to customize accented colored icons and change the font and, change some of the details when it came to came. We also did get some pretty decent portraits, but it did like wash out the background when it was in a, overcasted sky. So I just kind of want to throw that out there. But the overall user experience of this device felt really smooth. Even typing on this keyboard felt really good. Call quality was extremely clear. And I didn't really have any issues when I was talking, making phone calls, or just, browsing social media. And as far as the camera panning, it was pretty decent when it came to the overall end quality that you were getting when you were using it. Now, I do feel like this device did have an overall really good experience when it came to the camera. However, I do still feel like the lack of wide angle video mode and picture mode, as well as lack of dual speakers and 4K mode, made it sort of a downgrade. But when it came to the display, we did get a beautiful AMOLED panel at 6.4 inches, which was really nice to look at. It had 1080 by 2400 20 by 9 aspect ratio with 409 pixels density. So it did have this thing called shot extensation, which was a nice protection on the front layer of the screen because it didn't scratch whatsoever. And I've been using this device for a week or more without a case on here, and I've been putting it through as much as I possibly can, and I haven't seen one single scratch on the outside of it. So I was really shocked with the overall design as well as the protection that OnePlus did have to offer. The always on display is on board, but one of the things that I did notice is that it did have a really beautiful experience when it came to the user experience on this device. But one of the things that I did notice in the bugs is that when it came down to the overall software, picture-in-picture mode on this device was not working correctly. But I was really enjoying watching videos on this device, social media on here, as well as just general scrolling, listening to music. I did like the fact that it did also have a SD card for expansion of the storage, and the fact that it did have a 3.5mm headphone jack on the bottom. And it did come along with a lot of features like Wi-Fi calling, I'm talking about NFC, as well as a whole lot more. So this device did offer some pretty premium features because it does give you Bluetooth 5.1. It does give you a fingerprint with really quick in-display fingerprint technology, as well as the facial recognition on here as well, which I thought was a pretty nice added bonus. And whenever I was watching something on this device, I just found it very fast, very fluent, and easy to get to one point to another without having to worry about lag or stutter. So it was an enjoyable experience when it came down to the charging, because it has 33 watts fast charging at ultra speeds, which will top up in less than an hour. So I was enjoying the fact that even if I was using this device for 24 hours, I still had about 40% throughout the next day. But with the lack of update supports, because we're still on August 22, I was kind of wondering where the updates were going to come in on here, because we were a little bit behind when it came to the update situation. But the overall premium build, feel in the hand, camera experience, charging speeds, and all the features that this thing did pack kind of overlooked some of the bad parts about it. The battery was one of the outstanding parts about this device, because you just noticed that it was going to last a long time, and even if you were using it for a day and a half, you still had about 20% left, and you could top up really quickly with the 33 watts fast charging, which I thought was pretty cool. And the GPS navigation was spot on every time I was trying to use it. So I really enjoyed the overall user experience. But make sure you leave a comment and a like, and watch another video right after this, and I'll get right back with you. And I'll check you guys later. Peace.